XR Women isn't just a community. It's a movement redefining how we show up, learn, and lead in the metaverse.
XR Women isn't just a community, it's a movement redefining how we show up, learn, and lead in the metaverse.
XR Women isn't just a community, it's a movement redefining how we show up, learn, and lead in the metaverse.
Hello and welcome to a very special episode of the Tech Glow Up. I'm Nathan C. Today I'm talking with the leaders of XR Women. We're going to talk about the power of 5 years of XR Women and how they're igniting the future. XR Women, thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
Excited to be here.
Amazing. Julie, can you tell us a little bit about this idea of the power of 5 igniting the future? You've got some big things you've accomplished and big things you're celebrating.
Yeah, absolutely. The power of 5. We've actually been in existence for 5 years now. XR Women started in November of 2020. So we're approaching our 5-year anniversary, and we've got lots to celebrate the leadership, the education, innovation, collaboration, and impact that we've been making over the 5 years. Super excited to celebrate that with my co-founders, the leadership team, and our growing 1,500 member community that we have around the world.
Oh, goodness. Let's actually meet everybody individually. Julie, why don't you start and then we can pass it around the horn?
Yeah, my name is Julie Smithson. I'm the co-founder of XR Women, also CEO of my own company, Metaverse, and co-founder of Unlimited Awesome. Together with my co-founders and our leadership team, we provide weekly learning events in the metaverse for our XR Women community to be educated about the technology, the real world impact that it has, and to come together and collaborate with a global group of women on a weekly basis. Hi.
My name is Sophia Moshasha. I've been in the industry for 10 years and XR Women for 5. I can't believe it's been this long, and I'm very excited to celebrate with everyone. Co-founder of XR Women, and currently working on the interactive media team, leading client engagement at the World Bank, and lots of other fun stuff in the XR community.
Amazing.
Hello, so I'm Karen Alexander, one of the co-founders of XR Women, along with Julie and Sophia. And I came to XR from a background in higher education, where I had observed how technology was changing these huge systems already and forcing these changes. I was seeing how new technologies were opening up creative possibilities for people. Took a headfirst dive into XR back in 2016. And I say that I haven't looked back. I do work with educational institutions, specifically higher ed, on advising them on adoption and implementation of XR. I am also one of the co-founders of the Academy of Immersive Arts and Sciences, which is an organization that seeks to promote XR and promote excellence in XR through education, inspiration, and recognition.
So, Julie, 5 years means that XR Women has been around long enough for some people maybe haven't already met you yet. I would love it. Can you take us back to the origins of XR Women 5 years ago? And how did it all begin?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started in the immersive space back in 2010. I was building VR and AR. We started our company Metaverse in 2016. And then in 2019, actually at the VRARA conference, we met. That was an in-person event. Along came that pandemic where it shut everybody down. And we started to say, okay, we know how to do this. We can get into VR. We can get into these immersive worlds as avatars. Let's keep meeting. Let's keep learning about this. And it was in September 2020. Still remember the event. There was a group of women that got together. We learned about a real world application of the technology. We said, this is coming fast because of the pandemic, because of everything becoming remote. Our industry, our immersive industry just exploded, and things were happening on a weekly basis that we said, okay, we need to meet next week if we're going to become leaders in this industry. And we did. So on November 18th, 2020, we said, I don't like the term, but eat our own dog food, right? Let's go in, let's present in the metaverse, let's present in an immersive world and share education. And let's bring speakers in, let's learn from each other. And that's what we did. And that was 5 years ago. We're approaching in November, it'll be around the 240th event, immersive in a row that we have produced. Our community's grown. We cover so many countries. The footprint that we've built through the passion of not just Karen, Sophia, and myself, but our leadership team and the community. It's accelerating. It's really exciting. We have a lot planned. We've done a lot in 5 years, and we're looking forward to celebrating next month with our community and sharing how we can collaborate and educate and learn with each other to enhance our own skills. It's pretty special, the community we've built, and I'm pretty proud to be a part of it with these two ladies.
Doing anything in a series is way harder than it ever sounds in the beginning. So to be 240 puts you in some rare space.
And just to clarify, that's an immersive event as an avatar, and it's not a Zoom call. We take this seriously. We go immersive and we present immersive. So the whole mantra about what we're trying to educate about is to try and learn about how these technologies impact our communications, our collaborations, how we learn, and then learning how that technology is impacting places around the world. It's pretty special.
Thank you for that history. I love this. There's this interesting bits of timing that you called out that are very, right, like that the pandemic and being isolated through that really started to open people up to different digital ways of connecting. But even 5 years ago, there were tools and platforms that were accessible enough that you could literally meet in a virtual world like the next week once you decided on that. So that culmination of ease of entry and a strong demand, a strong driver for change is very well timed. Love it. Amazing. Karen, this idea that XR Women started 5 years ago as a response to a local community need or this newly identified community need. And now 5 years later, you're celebrating this global movement that you've happened into. When did you realize that you'd created something that was much more than just a local meetup?
Yeah, sure. That actually happened pretty early on because we would start to recognize, oh, wow, so-and-so is coming here from France or someone is here from Indonesia. And we noticed that at first. And then eventually we started tracking it and keeping track of how many different countries were represented by our membership. And we're now more than 60 countries. We range between 4 and 9 different countries represented at any of our weekly events. It's pretty special to be able to come together in real time with people from all around the world, connect with one another, find out what we're working on, and have the opportunity to come back again next week and continue the conversation.
That sort of weekly revisiting of topics and conversation seems like it can be really valuable for drawing a thread between ideas, technologies, relationships. There's a lot of different perspectives, right? How do you balance the focus of the group plus all of the different interests and inputs that come from being a global organization?
That is something that we really try to be intentional about. We try to be a space where opinions can be voiced and can be heard respectfully. And we make a point of saying that at the beginning of each of our events. And we also make an effort in our programming to represent different aspects of the ways that XR technologies are used, whether it's someone who is an artist creating spatial narratives, or it's someone working in the energy sector who is using XR for training their employees, community using XR. So we really try to represent all the ways in which this technology can be beneficial and to identify women who are working in that space to help us learn a little bit more about it. And there is a creative aspect to what we do. We've decorated up our virtual spaces to give them a little pizzazz. Julie does a motivation of the week every week, which is, I think, a very popular thing that people look forward to. They always want to hear that. I know I do. And so I think we all bring a little bit of ourselves to it. And the education comes from hearing about these use cases, how people did things, how they made things happen in their space. And we all learn quite a lot when we come together. The Q&A sessions can be amazing. The exchange of ideas there once the guest presenter has finished are excellent.
The Q&A, at least in my experience in these virtual events, right? There's something incredibly equalizing about everybody being in an avatar in a virtual space, in that some of the barriers that you might have, like walking up to an executive and just introducing yourself, melt away when everybody's in an avatar. I find that access to all kinds of perspectives and even folks across the business spectrum has been, I love the networking that I get at XR Women events. I think there's something that's really unique and dynamic about how virtual and avatar connections can enable, kind of gets rid of some of the things that makes it hard in other places.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the time where I realized that this was like bigger than us is when through those engagements, whether it's in virtual worlds or whether it's through a Slack channel, social media, those places, where people started collaborating with one another. Like and it's not only a knowledge exchange, it is like people are leveling themselves up personally and professionally, like from an education perspective, whatever it might be. And they're very vocal about it. And that is really incredible to see pioneers in the industry who have been in this space for a long time and truly innovative in this space. And then we have people that are just getting their feet wet, trying to find where they belong in the space and where they can add value, from our student chapters as well. So I think being that open, welcome, collaborative environment is really unique and special, because we as professionals in the industry don't often get an opportunity to have that open dialogue with one another. We're busy creating for clients. It's really nice to be able to have those spaces to do that. And we've seen some really incredible things unfold from that.
Can I comment on that? Because when you were talking about the Q&A, Nathan, and then what you just said, Sophia, reminded me of occasions when you've got this incredible brain trust in the room, and of women coming from different countries or the East Coast of the US and the West Coast of the US, but they're able to be there in real time and have these deep conversations about the specificities of the technology and how it is used. And that's really indicative of the expertise of our community. And there are very few spaces where you can find that and be able to talk to someone about the work that you're doing, to be able to talk to people who will understand it and be able to discuss it with you in more depth, rather than just asking you, what is XR? So without having to go to that level, we dive in deep right away. We can assume a certain level of knowledge on the part of our community members, although we do try to be welcoming to those who are new.
Yeah, innovation, being in deep technologies can be a really lonely space because you're in a frontier. The number of people that can relate isn't always that many. Turning to a global audience can really help you build those connections that you need when you're in a rarefied space like that. Can you tell us about this fifth year and how you're using the power of 5 to step into this next era for XR Women?
Definitely. We are very excited to be able to have made it this far and built this virtual empire that we all know and love. And it is growing organically. And we want to empower our community to do that, because while we need leadership to help push this movement forward, we always tell people, like, you are an XR woman. If you're in this space, or you're an XR woman ally, and we want to empower people to take this badge of honor and represent proudly. Through this next month in November, we have 5 pillars that kind of frame our mission at XR Women, to include leadership, which is all of us who help run these weekly shows. And it is not easy, as we've talked about before, and we'll go into that in a little bit of detail. Education is another one, and it's everybody that we have been able to give a megaphone to showcase their talents and expertise and experience in the space, in archiving that for everybody else to learn from. Innovation is another one, helping to be that foundation which people can take these learnings and grow and prosper from. Collaboration is threaded in everything that we do, both within our community as well as partnerships among other industries and other organizations and our allies as well. Impact, because that's the reason why we're doing all this, to create impact both as a community as well as on an individual level. Part of that is also helping to bring up this next generation of creators as well. And we're doing that through our student chapters also. We're celebrating just being established as a 501c3. So we're really excited for that. And that brings about opportunities as well, both as an organization, to be able to, again, create real impact within our community and beyond.
I have to jump in, Sophia.
Yeah.
You had a fantastic list, but you just mentioned that XR Women is now a 501c3 nonprofit, which
That's
opens
right.
up a ton of doors for partnerships, collaborations, and sponsorships to help really push that mission. And I feel like that's something worth just celebrating and sitting on for a moment.
To celebrate for a second, yes.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming. It's the community that we've built up till now that really makes very special, even more special and even more impactful. We have this brain trust, as Karen mentioned, of so much perspective and so much experience that span across industry verticals that is really special. And I think there's a lot that we can do to help educate community industry verticals on this technology through that depth of experience that is brought from these amazing women across the world.
Amazing.
So with that, we also have events going on throughout the month of November that kind of celebrate these and showcase these different pinnacles that we're trying to highlight. They are themed around our awards that we give out each year around innovation, trailblazing, and real world impact. We are taking people through the different platforms that we typically host events on. I think this is what makes what we've done really special and unique, because we're not just hosting virtual events every week. We are hosting them on various platforms in the metaverse, because we're not only showcasing how to produce virtual events at scale through individual platforms, but we're also helping people to onboard and get exposed to these different platforms through our effort. That is really unique. And I think a lot of people appreciate that. We'll be demonstrating the magic behind that through this event, and the work that goes into producing this. Another event that we're doing is around trailblazing, celebrating our 5 years of speakers. So we'll be highlighting some speakers and some knowledge that's been shared over the 5 years that has really hit home with us and our community as well. We'll be asking your community to chime in on that and just to share with us on what has been extra special in their experience over the 5 years attending these events. And then real world impact, we're highlighting the impact that basically our community has had within our community and beyond. I think those are going to be really interesting stories to share, because then we'll hear about success cases of people collaborating together, the different knowledge that people have shared and what they've been able to do with that, and how people have been able to get on other stages as a result of us helping them with this and giving them the first opportunity to showcase their work at XR Women, and so much more. We have so much to share on that. So I'm really excited for the world to see how this community can make that real world impact.
I'm sitting here listening, going, wow, that sounds like a great organization.
How could I be So you did mention a number of different events, different showcases, ways to get involved. What's the best way for people to learn about all the 5 year celebration and the different ways that they can engage?
Yes, first and foremost, definitely join our mailing list to get all the information that we share every week. If you go to xrwomen.com on the upper right hand side, you'll have an option to do that and you'll get regularly updated. We also have a landing page called Power of Five that you'll see in our menu options. Kind of tells you about these different pillars and what we are doing as a community, as an organization to propagate those pillars and asking people to support us because we are a community run organization, nonprofit, been doing this for a long time and growing our team. And we need all the help that we can get to continue our mission here. So if you go on that landing page, there's so many ways to contribute, both with donations and also getting involved with the community and organization. We would love any and all input from the community.
Amazing. There was something you said, Sophia, that inspires me to maybe bring something back to the group as a whole. As the core leadership and co-founders of XR Women, you've been in the thick of it for 240 virtual events in multiple different metaverse platforms. There's no way that this amount of engagement, of listening to global experts, from collaborating and building community together, that this work hasn't changed or impacted you. I'm curious, can you take a look back internally and how this 5 years of XR Women has helped you grow and learn and build?
Yeah, sure. I'll take that one on. I know for a fact that I wouldn't be me without XR Women today. It was in December of 2020. And I remember Juliana Lowe saying to me, and some of you know her from the industry, she said, Julie, you're a leader. Help us, lead us through this. And that rolled into 2021 and we haven't stopped since. I've grown as a leader. I've seen Karen and Sophia both grow as leaders. People change a lot in 5 years, and we both had our personal stories along with growing this ecosystem of taking women under this massive umbrella that we've created. And there's so much good vibes there that every time we come together, we're seeing each other grow in little bits and pieces, being on stages, being able to run these production events, which are very technical, that we challenge ourselves when we go live on YouTube. It's okay, who's going to do this today? And we challenge each other. We're always looking for how we can engage our audiences in different ways, not being fearful about this technology. We've created an ecosystem that adapts very well. One of the reasons why we need to meet every week now is to adapt to the information that we're taking in and apply that into our world, impact it into our ecosystem. So we've created this really safe, communal, adaptive place to learn. And every week, like today, we talked about quantum narratives. And that was that touch point for all three of us 5 years ago was, if we're going to continue learning, let's bring in people who are smarter than us and learn from them. What a great concept. And that's what we've done.
Sophia, what are you proud of? How do you mark your growth and success in this time?
Well, first of all, learning by doing, as Julie said. I haven't personally seen any initiative that does what we do and host these larger scale productions and various virtual platforms every single week. I think building that knowledge around what works best practices, troubleshooting, all of these things is really valuable. I remember when I first started in the industry and had to fight your way to be seen and get on stages and have your voice heard. Being able to now offer that to women who are looking to share their knowledge and their voice is really rewarding. I see them reciprocating to others in our community now. They're pulling them in to the opportunities that they have, and us included also. So I think it's been rewarding for us personally, but also to be able to see that, like, it just keeps flowing and people are taking it in their own hands and saying, I have something to share back with you, or, hey, you should get involved with this community, XR Women, because they have something valuable for you in the industry. So it's been really rewarding to see it grow organically through our community. And that's just a testament to the impact that we're having. So it's really special.
Yeah. I love that idea of to learn by doing. There's often this sort of mythos about startup innovators as like having some perfect divine message that delivers them a fully whole technology that's viral. But like most of the time when you're on the cutting edge, you have to slog through trying it every day, trying it a million ways until you find that fit that connects the community to the impact. And it's so cool to hear that that's just baked in to how you've been building. Karen, how about you? Yeah, what have you learned from this process and your partners?
Oh, wow. It's just been incredible to have a front row seat to everything that is happening in the industry and so many different aspects of it. And I feel incredibly fortunate that I'm able to bring what I learn from not just our speakers at XR Women, but from our other community members who we engage with, to bring what I learn about the industry and the tools and the concepts and the ways that people are using them back to my own consulting practice. And so whether I'm working with higher ed institutions or working with corporations or working with startups, I can bring what I have gleaned at XR Women to bear on that work. I'd also just want to say a little bit more about our global community and the ways that women are hungry for this. They come to us and say, oh, wow, I was hoping to find an organization like this, or I can't believe you exist. When someone says, oh, I'm so happy to find you, or I love these events, I love coming to these events every week, it means an awful lot.
I can envision the community user generated content campaign that collects all of those sound bites and celebrations of discovering XR women. Yeah, that's got to just be so inspiring. This is just fantastic. I so appreciate hearing about all that you've been building and growing. It wouldn't be the glow up if we don't talk about goals and growth. What's the fabulous next version that you're building toward? I'm curious, where's XR Women going in the next 5 years? How are you going to top the first 242 episodes, Julie? What's the big call to action?
Yeah. One of the things that's really important to me right now is to get us on a solid foundation. And as was mentioned earlier, we got our 501c3 designation from the IRS. We're a grassroots organization. One of the things that I have been really concerned with is sort of building the structure of the organization. And how do we operate? What are our policies? And all of these sorts of things that will keep us going, sustain us into the future. So for me, the short-term goal is to make sure that we are stable, that we have a solid foundation, which we do in terms of the community, but we need to be able to sustain the work that we do. And that's why the support of our community is so very important to us. And that's absolutely crucial right now. We're at this key moment where if we can do that, then the sky's the limit. Okay.
Yeah, XR Women is looking for sponsors and partners to help further the mission. They need folks to step up to support the mission as community, but are also looking for financial backers to support this mission in the future.
And I'll jump in, just something else that we're proud of, and we're starting to get more inbound requests to educate back to the community outside XR Women and help connect, right? We've been asked to do workshops for various topics, help funnel in creators, like women creators, to ecosystems for both software and hardware platforms to large companies. We're very proud to be able to do that. And we want to continue to do that. Know that this is a huge value add to our industry at large, or any company that's really trying to build the creator ecosystem. And so that is one of the things that I see ourselves growing in, is not only connecting and collaborating amongst our own, but now that we have this pool of talented individuals, how do we then continue to connect them to other opportunities to see other ecosystems grow as well? And we're really good at doing that. And we're seeing a lot of, again, these inbound requests for doing this. We want to continue to be able to do that. And that is why supporting the organization and the community and continuing to leverage it to help it grow is really important, not just for us, but really for the industry at large, to keep this going, because there's a lot of things that we can do. And with the 501c3 designation especially, I'm looking forward to building more programs through this accreditation, through partnering with organizations and governments and others as well. We now have the opportunity of doing that. And again, we have a pool of talented individuals from all over the world, all professional industries. And so we have a lot of knowledge and talent that we can pool and culminate together to be able to start building some really impactful solutions and projects revolving around this designation. So we're definitely putting a focus on growing that.
I love that you've really caught my attention, right, with the knowledge, trust, and the network that XR Women has created globally is such a unique set of perspectives and experiences and insights about spatial computing technologies for an industry that is so predominantly like white dudes in Silicon Valley. To have an outside perspective, to have a perspective that represents the whole a little bit more, or like the state of the actual world, it seems incredibly valuable. And like, bravo for understanding where your own expertise and data sets are and how you can turn those in value back into the industry. That's the kind of feedback loops that get people moving on. Julie, how about you?
Yeah,
What's your big call to action for the next 5 years?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm going to touch both on what Karen and Sophia said that are behind XR Women. One of the things, the real world impact that we've been able to accomplish is starting our student chapter in Kenya and Africa. So within that stability of being a 501c3, our reach and our impact, it goes far beyond that. And building out the governance behind the stability goes deep, understanding the laws, the accessibility of some of the women to this technology. We're hearing stories from war-torn countries where they're going into the tunnels to access Wi-Fi to be able to connect with other women. That's happening. And I think it's incredible. We hear about these stories through the channels of our community. Us having this global impact, it's incredible during this day and age where there's a lot of disturbance in the force out there in the real world. But with that comes the governance. That's the first piece. And then second, to tie it to what Sophia was saying, the important thing for us is to continue learning about this technology. How do we introduce robotics and drones into XR and AI? How about augmented reality and glasses and things like that? So for us, that's the kind of that next phase. Beyond the 5 years, we're going to take a deeper look into some different topics, especially for the three of us. For our leadership team is important on how we pull in those speakers to be able to educate us. We've got a machine going. XR Women is a huge machine. We've got a massive footprint. We have the XR Women Museum Gallery in the Frame platform curated by Paige Dansinger. The exhibition's called She Who Codes Herself. So learning about how AI is transforming art in the designers themselves, female designers. We've done a lot of things around even putting people's businesses. It was a while ago. It's almost 2 years. I can't believe this already. The Spatial Computing Business Showcase. We've been able to put these exhibits together where it features the XR women's talents and their ecosystem to teach others. And again, it just comes back to the power of our community. We've got this massive footprint. We're going to be celebrating it with our community in the next month. And then the celebrations don't continue. We keep learning, we keep meeting because the ecosystem's not stopping anytime soon. So we're really proud to be on the forefront of it. And we can't do it without the community. This isn't just a Sophia, Karen, Julie show. This is the XR Women movement. And yeah, we're proud to be a part of it.
Oh, goodness. Thank you so much for that. So cool to see that 5 years in, you're still thriving and being inspired on a weekly basis by both the technology, the community, and the opportunities to grow and learn together to make an impact in real people's lives. So fantastic. Are there any sort of last closing thoughts or calls to action that you wanted to share out?
Oh, wow. I think, as Sophia said before, first of all, just join XR Women. It's free to do, and it doesn't matter what your gender orientation is. You can join, and you can come to our session. There is a tiny little thing. You have to tick a box underneath where your email goes on that join form in order to receive our weekly newsletter, which will let you know where we're going to be on Wednesday. The newsletter comes out on Tuesday. I'll let you know on where we're going to be on Wednesday. We do have this Power of Five campaign going on where we're asking people to donate just $5. If you appreciate what XR Women does, give us $5. You've got a little more room in your wallet and you can give us $50. That would be very much appreciated. If you can give us $500, wow, that goes a long way toward helping us to make what we do happen. $5,000 would sponsor 2 XR Women student chapters for us to found new ones. And $50,000, that would do a great deal toward help us achieving that will allow us to continue growing this incredible community of learning and collaboration and connection.
Karen said it very well. We provide value to our own community, but more importantly, to the industry at large. So I think people need to keep that in mind in terms of what we do and the value that our community actually has. You will not find a collective of professionals this large and this dedicated anywhere in the virtual world. So I think there is so much that we can do together as an industry with XR Women. And I want people to understand that we're not siloing ourselves. In fact, we need the partnership and collaboration with others in the industry to be able to add the value that we've been seeing within and creating within XR Women to the initiatives that are happening in the industry. So we definitely want people to reach out to us. We want to help and we want our community to be able to help, and let's leverage them. There's so much that they want to give and they can give. The purpose of this is to give back to the industry. And so let's figure out how we can continue to do that, leverage our community to be able to provide that value.
Yeah, I like the way you said that, Sophia, because we all got started in this because we were passionate about XR technologies and what they could do for people, whether it would be giving them more ways to create and tell stories, share a perspective on something, or make a business process safer or more efficient. We really believe in the power of this technology to improve people's lives. So we are helping to build this industry and move it forward through what we do at XR Women.
Oh my goodness, this is lovely, friends.
XR Women isn't just a community. It's a movement redefining how we show up, learn, and lead in the metaverse.
XR Women isn't just a community. It's a movement redefining how we show up, learn, and lead in the metaverse.
XR Women isn't just a community. It's a movement defining how we show up, learn, and lead in the metaverse.
Oh, Julie Smithson, Karen Alexander, Sophia Moshasha, so fantastic to talk with you, co-founders of XR Women, and to hear how you're using the power of 5 to both celebrate your amazing run to date, as well as how you're planning to ignite the future. Thanks for joining me on this very special episode of the Tech Glow Up.
Thank you so much, Nathan.
Thank you.
Amazing.